Halo Infinite, Every Cosmetic So Far, Part 2. Hi, my name's SDDog, and with the dust now settled from Infinite's multiplayer reveal last June, let's take another look at every multiplayer DLC we know of so far before launch, as there have been some new bits of info to talk about in relation to in-game cosmetics. Now before I go any further, I want to stop you and say that I highly recommend you check out my first video that already went over a bunch of cosmetics. I think it's really useful and informative, especially if you're a completionist like me. Maybe watch that one first, then come back here. But either way, today we're breaking down all new armor and weapon coatings as well as armor pieces from the multiplayer reveal trailer and overview that we got in June. But anyways, in my first video I split up the cosmetics into 3 separate categories as a means of organization, those being Promotional, Earnable, and Unknown. And just for continuity's sake, we'll be sticking to that format, but I'll just say right now there has been kind of a dry spell in terms of new information on earnable cosmetics and promotional items in particular, so pretty much all of the new items that we'll talk about today fall under the unknown category. So without further ado, let's once again dive right in. First up is the promotional category, and the only one that has come up as of late is the Rockstar Energy promotion. But there is a catch, because the promotion isn't out yet. Let me explain. So it was originally discovered by a Twitter user who said his friend found a Halo-themed Rockstar can in a gas station. And I believe Sean W. covered this story more thoroughly on his channel, so go check it out if you want to learn all of the details. But basically, Rockstar took down their promotional website right after this kind of blew up online, which was weird. But the picture seemed to communicate that if you collect 5 of these cans, then you get all of the cosmetics that come in this promotion. This seems very similar to the Monster Energy promotion that we've seen and talked about before, in the sense that multiple cosmetics are clumped into one promo. So right now we don't know when this promotion is coming out or what items are to be included, but I'll be sure to cover that on the channel once we get some more developments. Alright, now let's move over to the Earnable category, as 343 did give us some info on the coveted Yoroi armor/armor core. But what is an armor core? Well, let's get that out of the way, because this needs some explaining before we can really go further. So an armor core, from my best understanding, is the base customization for your Spartan. So what we learned in the multiplayer reveal is that you can customize helmets, helmet gear, visors, chests, shoulders, knee pads, prosthetic arms and legs, which are pretty much the main visual elements of your Spartan. So the armor core, from my understanding, is everything that you can't individually customize. For instance, let's say you're rocking the Yoroi armor core, but you chose Mark V armor on all of your other pieces, right? Like helmet, shoulders, etc. So while your Spartan has mostly Mark V armor on, I would assume that the undersuit, thighs, waist, maybe even the forearms would still look like a samurai. You still have the essence of that Yoroi armor in there. In this way, 343 is giving us deeper customization options. Anyways, that's my best guess, and I apologize for the slight detour. Let's get back to the Yoroi armor itself. So basically, 343 has said this armor set will be earnable in Halo Infinite's first season through special events for free, and emphasis on free. Other than that, not much more info has been given out on how exactly to earn this armor, but it's good to know that we won't have to shell out real money for this one. Okay, now let's move to the unknown category. The first group of new items we'll look at is armor and weapon coatings, as we did receive a few new confirmations. And first up is the MOA Assault armor coating. We saw it in a screenshot on Xbox's official website. Number 2 is the Wild Coven armor coating that we saw in the overview. Here at number 3 is the Karaba Sirocco armor coating, and we also see it in action right here in this sequence. Alright, next up on number 4, we have the Cadet Orange armor coating, which is a very interesting name. I've seen some people highlight that hearing the name Cadet sounds like the coating will be awarded in a basic training type of scenario, given that the armor coating is essentially just straight up orange with no intricate patterns, as you can see. If this is the case, then we could probably assume that the other solid colors that we saw in the trailer, like right here we see a solid teal armor coating, a solid blue one right here, and a solid red, black, and light purple one in this screenshot, are maybe ones that you get right away in multiplayer, either by default or by doing basic challenges in some sort of introductory tutorial. I think that's likely the case because if we were to look at this frame right here, it says in the background to movement course, implying there is a training level just for movement mechanics. And we also saw a firing range section confirmed. So this is good news if we get rewarded with basic colors for doing basic tasks. Then we won't have to shell out money for primitive colors. Anyways, we also see what I believe to be the Monarch armor coating as it matches up with the high-res screenshot we got from 343 a bit earlier. Speaking of the promotion, I was wondering where the granular armor coating was, as that was also a part of it. My only far-fetched guess is that it might be a redesign here, maybe just with like darker colors. I only make that guess because there seems to be a consistent amount of gold under the armor, which kind of matches up to this very low-res screenshot. I know it's kind of a stretch, I'm probably wrong on this one, but otherwise I don't really know what this armor coating is. But then we also get a good look in the overview of a blue and gold coating on this Spartan. And taking a more educated guess this time, I would say that this is the armor coating that we are getting for purchasing the yellow and blue Funko Pop that we also discussed in the first video. The color scheme looks very similar, so I don't think it's too much of a stretch here. That leaves a few other armor coatings that we didn't get a name for. So there's this red one here with gold accents all over. And then we have this coating with an interesting mix of dark gray and red throughout. And that about does it for new armor coatings, but let's now look at the new weapon coatings. Going back to this picture, we see the black and red sniper, which reads in this screenshot as the red line sniper rifle coating. And this appears to suggest that power weapons will be customizable, at least in terms of coatings. Next up is the War Master's Prize coating that we see on the AR. And it's possibly also right here on the Commando. It's also interesting to note that in these frames, the weapon coating is nearly identical to the armor coating, which I've also seen some people observe. So this very much could be the War Master's Prize armor coating as well, but don't quote me on that one. And there are a couple more weapon coatings in the trailer / overview that didn't get a name either. So we have a quick frame of this AR solid blue coating, a camo blue one right here, a red battle rifle coating here, a red and what looks like either white or gold in the middle coating on this Bulldog shotgun, a green camo on the VK78 Commando right here, and a red AR in the screenshot. And then we also have this white assault rifle right here, so I want to take a second on this one. So the white assault rifle is revealed not to be a coating, but a rare weapon core in this frame. Of course, this gives us more questions than answers about customization, but if we're to apply the same logic that we discussed with the armor cores, this appears to be a base look to your weapon. Maybe they'll make like a Halo 3 or a Halo 4 assault rifle core, right? Where the fundamental design of the rifle looks radically different from the default infinite one. However, it is a bit confusing because here the white color is not its own coating, but part of the core itself, which leads me to believe that you can add weapon coatings to complement a color that is already part of a core. So for instance, right here, the white is already there, right? But what if another color pattern can go above that where the dark gray default look is? So it seems that color and the shape of weapons will be linked together in some instances when it comes to weapon cores. And again, that would make sense because it adds a ton of new possibilities for customization. Maybe we'll see something like this with armor cores as well. But that wraps up every armor and weapon coating. But what about armors themselves? And there's a lot to cover. So I'll definitely be conscious of time and I'll run through them real quick. So if we go back to this screenshot, we see this Spartan rocking the Mark 7 helmet, CNM5/BNR/Fascinator helmet gear with a Vandal visor. We have the UA/Velius shoulders with the War Master's coating, which we just went over, along with the Scorpion Punch armor coating that we talked about in the first video. Aside from that, we see K-Pax gloves, TAC/Paradise rig chest, along with UA/Type SA knee pads. And finally, we see that this Spartan has a Mark 7 armor core, which gives us a slightly better idea of how armor cores mix into the other parts of customization. But as we move to this Spartan, we see a soldier helmet, Dragoon visor, UA/Gordius shoulder armor, Hemi Cyan gloves, and UA/Type MR knee pads. And here we also get another look at the Wild Coven armor coating, along with yet another example of the Mark 7 armor core. Going to this screenshot, we get a quick glimpse of the Viator shoulder armor. Going back to this screenshot, we see a Mark 5 armor core, the MOA Assault armor coating, which we just covered, Scout helmet, MIA visor, left shoulder is an SAP/Recon piece, even though we can't see it in the screenshot, but the right shoulder is SAP/SNP. Gloves are Mark 5B, while the knee pads are UA/Type FJ. We can't see these either. In this screenshot, we get another look at the Mark 5 armor core and the Noble Defender armor coating that we also discussed in the first video, but we have the EVAC helmet with the iconic Helljumper visor. The left shoulder is a SAP/M piece, while the right is SAP/MT. I would like to know the difference, but again, we can't see the right shoulder. We have Challenger gloves and the knee pads are UA/Type JOR pieces, and we can't see those either. In this one, we again have a Spartan with a Mark 5 armor core, and we get a good close-up of the Watchdog armor and weapon coatings that we talked about last time. We also see a Commando helmet with a Stalwart visor. Left and right shoulders are SAP/Gungnir pieces. And for everything else that we missed, for this next section, I will now summon the powers of halopedia.org to list out the rest of the armor pieces. So huge shout out to that website. So in terms of the other helmets, we have Anubis, Aviator, Cavallino, CQB, CQC, Grenadier, Mark 5, Mark 5B, Mark 5 Zeta, ODST, Trailblazer, and Zvezda. Another chest that I missed was the HP/Halo piece. Other shoulders include CQC, EVA, Grenadier, Jump Jet, ODST, and UA/Agathias. We have one wrist piece, which is the UA/Bracer. For knee guards, we have Grenadier. And finally, for utility, we have the AAP/Ordnance Pack. And that completes our second roundup of every piece and type of cosmetic so far before Infinite's launch. To make this video, I had to watch those multiplayer reveals like 100,000 times to make sure I didn't miss anything, but on the off chance if you saw that I missed something, feel free to let me know. I can always use another pair of eyes. Finally, thanks for watching. Hit like if you appreciate what I'm doing here, and subscribe if you want to see some more Halo content just like this. Comment down below if you have anything else to say, I would love to hear it. And finally, thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.